It's July 3rd, y'all, 2026, and I'm about to head out this morning. I'm trying to figure out my walking route this morning, but I needed to get up. I'm just a little bit earlier, but I needed to get out because it's going to be a scorcher. Sometimes it's I forget to set my watch. So for those of you who are not familiar with a lot of technology, you don't mess around with your phone that much other than just to call people or something. There's some other amenities on a watch, and one of them is this walk. It will measure your distance and time, and it's just so annoying when I forget to set my watch. And then on top of not setting my watch, forgetting to look at the time before I start the video, because once I start the video, I can't see the time. But if I have my watch on, I'm fine. But I still don't remember, I didn't get to look to see what time I started. So I have to probably do some walk checks before I walk. And one of it is, did you start the watch? Did you start the other timer on the watch? And because that's imperative. That's the best part of walking, is knowing how far you walked and how long you walked. And so this morning, starting out, it's very, I like this view. It's very cool this morning, breezy and cool. And so I like getting up. The earlier I like getting up because the breeze is here in the morning. And it's 4th of July weekend, and I can't believe I would say the collegiate summer is almost over. And the fun part of this, God blesses me, let me live, and nothing happens. I get to see I get to experience again the ability to see all the school buses go by, all the kids having to get up early, and everybody go to work, and I don't have to. And that feelings on Mondays, like, oh my gosh, after you done had a weekend, you got to go back to work. But I have that Monday feeling anyway. Maybe it's a placebo effect, because even though I don't work Mondays, it don't matter if I have something to do or not to do. It's that feeling it's still Monday and getting through Monday. But I'm gonna practice not rushing through Monday, because once Monday's gone, the whole week is gone to me. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, enjoy the walk. The camera's turned a different way this morning. I think it's easier for me to handle it when it's like this. And I hope y'all can see what I see, but there's trash through there. But this is the area I come through where it's trashy. And then it gets really a lot better up the street. But here I go. Sometimes it's just interesting looking at people's yards and things they collect. To each his own. I'm seeing today a house being gutted out. I wonder if it's being gutted out to be remodeled or it's up for sale. But that's interesting. So I'm walking aimlessly this morning. The last time I walked, which was yesterday, I walked in the opposite of direction of this street, and that's when I found those houses that were built in the early to mid 2010s, like 10, 11, 12, 14, somewhere around there. And they look a lot different from these houses built in the 70s. And so I walked this opposite direction because this street leads to the some of the streets I normally walk, but I've never walked through here. And nice. pretty decent area. Calm this morning, who knows? Haven't heard a dog bark yet, which can be extremely irritating, even if I love dogs to death. Yeah. Morning before I left, I wanted to listen to one of the songs that I enjoyed listening to when I was recovering. And I didn't know this song before that. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my camera and whatever's going on with that. But anyway, I didn't know the song before that, but I knew a song with a similar title. So the reason why I came across the song is because I was looking for the one title, and this one came up, and I'm like, that's not it, but it was sounding kind of good. Sometimes if you just wait a couple of seconds on a song, you might discover a really good song, because sometimes we'll turn on the music and like, I don't like the song, but if you listen a little bit longer, you find out you kind of do. So anyway, it was one of those things. I was looking for the song He's That Kind of Friend, and it was by James Cleveland, of course. But this song, He's Just That Kind of God, came up, and it started, talking about, Jehovah and Jehovah Jireh, Nisi, Shalom. It was telling you he was all of these, all the names we know God as. Jehovah Jireh, my provider. And, and then the song goes on and they're singing that, and then they keep saying He's just that kind of God. And then it breaks out into Wait on Him. Well, it breaks out into Nobody But Jesus. And it says, and then it kept saying, Nobody like Him. Nobody like Him. Nobody like Jesus. And then it'll go on for a while, and they go, Wait on Him. Wait on Him. Wait on Him. And I needed that during that time, because I wanted my healing to hurry up. I wanted to miraculously get better. And that song really touched on me when it said to wait on Him. And it says nobody like Him. Yeah, and it went back into nobody like Him. Hi. And so, remember, there's nobody like Him. Wait on Him. That was very inspirational. So I had to start this. I was realizing how I was forgetting those moments. Like I really wasn't. Well, I was going to cross the street, but not this way. I've never noticed that this street was a main street, but I just can't see the street sign to know what street that I'm not recognizing. Oh, yeah, I know what street I'm on. You got to know your area when you go to walk. Oh, but I got to go the other way. Okay. Because I'm taking a long walk this morning. But anyway, so I was not getting in the feeling that I was when I was healing or praying for healing. And so I wanted to play some of the songs that reminded me of my journey. And that was one of it. And another one, I like listening to, I gotta kind of sing it to myself, okay? The song is He's Blessing Me over and over again. He's blessing me right here where I stand. Every time I turn around, He's making a way somehow. Over and over again, He's blessing me. And He says He's in my walk. He's in my talk. Oh yes, the Lord is blessing me. Every time, yes, once again, I turn around, He's blessing me somehow. And that's so amazing. That was amazing then. And I want all the spirit of that to come back on me, to remember that, not to forget. I don't want to go through the trauma again, but I don't want to forget it. I don't want to forget the lessons from the trauma and the feelings, the hope, the triumphs. It's okay to remember the trauma, as long as you're remembering some good feelings that you were feeling, the hope, when you were feeling hope and you started witnessing that hope coming into fruition. So yeah, I was feeling that kind of way this morning, of like not forgetting. Don't forget. And see, it brings me to another song by James Cleveland. It says, don't forget to remember where all your blessings come from. You know, don't forget. And he starts out, he says, he talks about how sometimes you think that you can't make it through and you feel like all your hope is gone. But just remember, God cares for you and he knows just what's best for you. Okay, that's another song. He cares for you. But don't forget to remember. I can't remember the words, but I'm going to play it, and we'll talk about don't forget to remember where all your blessings come from on my next walk. But I like to talk about he cares for you. He knows, and he cares. Jesus knows. Yeah, Jesus knows. And sometimes people think we're strong, but just because we look strong on the outside doesn't mean our souls are not feeling weary. And so we got to remember that. We don't know what people are going through spiritually, personally. And the personal doesn't mean that you have issues like you have bill problems or money problems or family problems. It could be a soul feeling problem. It could be feeling unloved. It could be feel unappreciated. It could be a feeling of loneliness. But remember, God cares. He cares for you. And when you start to feel lonely, remember, God is still there. He's still mine. And he's still trying to remind you, hey, just talk to me. I'm your problem solving. I'm the one who's going to get you through everything that you might be needing to get through. Trust me. Breathe. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And do that for a few seconds. He wants you to have your spirit, calm your spirit. Then he wants you to look around. And then he wants you to know he's there, and then he wants you to see his beauty. So when you start to feel that, remember the spirit that is always with you when other spirits aren't. And just also remember, all spirits aren't good spirits. And they could be family members, they could be friends. Just because you're connected in a certain way doesn't make that spirit good for your soul. And I know I could be something else. I'm not always good for people's spirit. Because, especially when I don't know, sometimes I call it a mood. When I'm on a certain type of mood, I don't know. I'm not the most agreeable. I'm not the most, fascinating. It's human, but that's not an excuse. But understand, you can get out of that. You can get away from people when their spirit isn't right, because it's not them. You can't argue those spirits away. They're not going away. And if you become silent and they keep going, find a way to disconnect. And I mean, when you're dealing with me, just disconnect. Try it again the next day. Because people will come and kill your spirit. Not intentionally, but other spirits get within them. Like when we was growing up, knock that devil out of you. You got the devil in you. But people understood. There are spirits that get into people. They ride. They're parasites. They latch on. And just understand that, know that, and let that person work that spirit out of themselves. Because we do. So, yeah. I chose to take a long walk this morning because of the weekend. Knowing that the fireworks are going to start probably tonight. And I might not get much sleep. I decided to not skip today because I was going to. And but if they're not out late at night and I'm strong and I'm good, I'll try walk before the celebrations begin. Oh my gosh, dead bird, dead bird. I hate anything dead. That gives me the creepos. There's my dude sitting there in the chair waiting on, not me. Still going. Yeah, it's been, I can't see, it's how long I've been into the walk since I paused. 21 minutes into the walk since I paused the video. I keep pausing and unpausing, by the way. Streets a little quiet, not as busy. There are cars that's going through I always call it the second flow to work. You have that 7 o'clock people, those 8 to 9 o'clock folks that are due to work. And I like to make my appointments if it's in the mornings, around 9, because if you have to be to work at 9, you should be off the streets. 9 to 10 in the morning, especially if I know they're not very long appointments. Then I can get into that appointment out before the lunch crowd around 11:30. Yesterday, I had an appointment for my ear. And the first appointment I had for the ear 2 weeks ago, I was real early getting there. I was in, I was out. So I was feeling optimistic. I had scheduled groceries to be delivered, but thankfully I scheduled them quite like 1 o'clock. The appointment for me was 10, but the delivery was scheduled for 1 to 3. And I got in there. It wasn't the best drive. I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just that lots of sun. And it was more for my peripherals to the right, but it was still good. And probably was annoying the people behind me. So I got to there. I missed my turn. I made a U-turn, which was kind of weird, but I would have done that whether I had sight problems or not. I made a U-turn. It's a busy street ahead of me, major street, but for some reason it wasn't really nothing. Then I U-turned and then made it right into the parking lot. And so I had to wait. Now, one thing I don't understand is when I used to have my doctor's appointment, if you had a doctor's appointment and they needed to do a follow-up, you didn't do another copay. So they charged me another copay. And I was sitting there for a while waiting, and I was noticing I'm sitting there and there's all these people who are coming behind me. They're in, they're out. So at some point I said, I just want to check to make sure that y'all didn't forget me. And she goes, they should be calling you, you're next. And sure enough, before I can even sit back down, they called my name. And the lady said, the doctor wants us to do an audio test on you. So I sat back there and I went through this audio test. And the conclusion came out the same as what it was when I came in. significant ear loss in the right ear. So I knew that. But, and they suggest, some hearing aids. And I'm considering. And then they made me sit back in the waiting room again. And I had to wait for the doctor. So the person came out and called me. And they put me in a room. Told me to wait in the room till the doctor's ready. So then I finally got to the doctor. I love him. I shouldn't say I love him. I don't know that man. This is my second visit. But I like him. And I liked his demeanor. And I like his, how it's a term, bedside manner. He was really a kind, nice, compassionate talking doctor. And he was checking my ears, and he said everything looked good. Because when I did the audio test, my eardrums were good. Everything was good, looked really good. And he says, hey, look, because I'm still having small pains. And but I didn't kind of stress that. I didn't say, oh gosh, I just said, yeah, I just feel a little bit of pressure, whatever. And he says, he said it again. He said it at the first one. I would like to do an MRI. And he says sometimes there's growth on there. It's usually benign, and we want to make sure we're not missing it. And he said, because other than that, everything in your ear looks good from here. He said, we'll do a scan of your brain, which will cover the ears. And at first I was like, no, that's so unnecessary. But then again, I thought about it. The last time they checked my brain was last year. Was it last year? I think it was. Yes, it was last year. And they said, see ya, don't want to be ya. Basically, we don't see nothing. We ain't worried about nothing. But they actually said that, we can't really see much going on there because it's still smashed up in there. Well, you're not going to schedule something a little far out to make sure that smash out didn't inflate back up? So I never knew if the bleeding, the clots ever went away. There's a lot of stuff I'm not aware of. So I was saying, you know what? I need to let them do this MRI. Even if it's for the ear, they can see the brain too. So now I'm waiting on the lab to call and schedule an appointment for the MRI. And thankfully it's at the same office I've been doing all my scans. So that's me in the medical world here. I'm trying to stay up on my health, and it's more than just my body as far as the physical and looking physically good. It's about just all the functionings of my organ. Are they okay? Because you can look as good as you want to look. But if things ain't going up here or through your circular system, muscle system, nerve system, skeletal system, then you got to be careful. You're not that healthy. Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out what crossword road I'm at. But I don't know. I think this is Carmel. I'm almost sure, because that's the street I'm trying to get on. It's Carmel, but I'm looking hard, but I can't tell. But I'll get back with you. It's the street I want to be in. And I don't know if y'all can see the sign. It says Pride in the Park Promenade. I mean, this used to be Shootout City. And then the neighbors, this back in the 90s, the neighbors who had got together and they created Pride in the Park. And on my particular street, I moved on. First, I was on this street. And other than the neighbors, 4 houses down, they were murderers. One of the kid, he was a murderer. He eventually became a murderer, but he also was in the car with a kid that got murdered. There were also a family of 8 kids, where they're the ones that broke in my house. And I lost it on them. I flipped out on them. And for some reason, they were so scared of me. And then I started working in the school district. And by that time they moved. And the weird thing, their mom was a sheriff, and all of them kids were on probation. All 8 of them. And one of them ended up committing a murder of one of my students. And that was really, really hurtful, because my ex, and he was my ex then, was living in his apartment, and he was coming home from work, and he said he saw the car. He said he knew something was not going. He said he felt like something was about to happen, so he waited, and they went into his apartment building, and they shot up one of my students who was a brand new father. He was a proud father. He was a young father, but he was a proud father. And he was the sweetest thing, but he was a gangbanger. And I remember at that time, we lost a few students, and it was just nothing but death and violence. And then we eventually lost the SRO, which was Student Resource Officer, who took his own life. So we went through like grief for about 4 years. Somebody passed away every year, and I was scared to have my kids after school, because I was like, there's something wrong with this. This place is heck, something. And so we had a secretary that she would walk through the building and pray. And then I had to start praying for my office and everything. And then all of a sudden the violence did stop at some point. And not at the school. It was never at the school. It was always after school, down the block, around the block, on a street near the school. And then we got this principal about, I'll say, if that was, we're talking the 90s, and this principal comes in the teens. He came in, and he brought people in, and he had them from the church bless the hallway with oil. But that secretary back then kept saying, this place is evil. I feel it is evil. Like, I don't want to be in an evil place, but I felt like God sent me to this place, and to be a beacon of light and of hope. And I knew he was watching over my kids. I wasn't even worried about my kids to that extent of the world physically hurting them. I was scared of the physical beings that I couldn't see coming for them. And God has watched and blessed them, and we got one more, and I hope he blesses him. The school, evolved into a dynamic school. And my oldest granddaughter, she really did well there, and it paid off for her to be at that school. But we persevered. All my kids graduate from there. 2 of the grands, the 3rd of the 4th, perfectly, will get through. The first grandbaby, my grandson, I love you, Zay. He went to school in another district. And what happened was, he lived further out, and then they moved to Florida, and he was there for a while, and he came back here, and they ended up moving to the district that he was in when they left, and he wanted to be around his other friends that he used to have, but they'd all grown up. But so he graduated, COVID hit, and we didn't think there was going to be a graduation. His prom was no prom, just no prom. It was just, his whole senior year was just, but there was still a light, a beacon of light. There was people on Facebook who wanted to buy gifts for the graduates. So you just send him his name. And he was getting, they said, what are the things he wanted? I asked him. Someone bought him the camera that he wanted. He got things like yard signs. He got a big blanket with his face on it, graduation year, school and graduation year. He got so much stuff. And so anyway, I'm off track. So that school cleared up, And it's so far going good. Great superintendent there. And I'm just, glad that God came in and just stepped through the neighborhood and made it better. I always talk about probably won't be moving. But I sat here. My colleagues said, why are you living there? Why don't you move up north? Why are you here on the south side of town? And I'm like, because there's a purpose. God has a purpose for me here. And I'm going to stay here as a neighborhood icon. And and he's blessing me now. Y'all going on and pay that $2,000-$3,000 a month mortgage, some $4,000. It's really high here. And let me keep paying it's down to $900 a month mortgage, which is almost done. So y'all going on there and enjoy yourselves. See, what God did was get me straight for retirement. That's what he did. Like, you don't want to have for your whole retirement check is going to just pay basically the mortgage and utilities and your phone, and and even food, but you gotta scramble for everything else. And so he put me in a place where I didn't have to do that. Then he brought me back to work so I can build up a really good savings to help my granddaughter, the first one not to go to college but to stay in college. No cap on the one that didn't, because that was okay. That wasn't his calling at all. He found it, and I'd like him to be blessed in his calling. So as I walk through here, the memories of the late 90s. Woo! My gosh. It still could be something else over here, but oh my gosh. The mid-90s was a mess. And if you wasn't affiliated with the gang, you were in trouble. And me having to keep my eyes on my kids, I had to keep my eyes more on the girls than I did my son. He wasn't all into that. But still, he was still a target. He was, so to speak, at any point, he could have been targeted. And if it wasn't the gangs, it could be the police, So, and I love my baby, because my son, he's I like him. Maybe, son, I put you on a higher pedestal than you feel like you belong on, because there's aspects of you may say, Mama, you don't know about me. I'm not supposed to know that part. I'm supposed to know the good part. I'm supposed to love you for what I know, okay? Don't tell me the stuff I don't know, that I don't know. If it's bad, if it's going to change the way I see you, but it won't change the way I love you at all. So anyway, I wasn't so much worried about him, but the girls were very impressive. And because not only there were, the girl gangs were getting big, and they can pressure you up way more than these dudes. To be ostracized by girls is hard. And by the time the youngest one, actually, I gotta admit, she came along the gang, and they are 6 years apart, I think. By the time she came along, that gang pressure wasn't as deep. And so, you can figure out which daughter. The oldest daughter, she came through that pressure. And I was eyebrow up about some of her friends and stuff. And I probably don't know the half of what she did. She could tell me now, half of the stuff she did, or went through. And I know one of her friends' boyfriend was murdered. That was hard. I actually me and a counselor and a administrator, we went to the funeral home. We decided we're going to go to the funeral home to see him. And he was gunned down on a main street, busy street. I'm talking traffic street. And so I said, you know what? I need to go get my daughter, and I need her to see this. We need to take her with us. So I got her out of school, which, was in the building. And I took her with us to go see him. And when we went in there, there he was. I couldn't go too close, but close, very close enough to see. He was wearing the cap and gown because it was right before graduation. And it was the new cap and gown that we had purchased, the brand new look. And the year was 1999. Brand new. And that's how I saw what the new cap and gowns looked like, because it was lame. He was wearing it. And I think that changed my daughter. Yeah. A little bit, because she went through a little something after that. But to see somebody you hang around and they're laying in a casket, yeah, I think that did something. I hope it didn't traumatize her, but I hope it did play a role in her being the wonderful, amazing woman she is today. I love her. And I got to thank my 3 children, because at some point, I know some of y'all wild out. You know who y'all are. Some of y'all wild out right in front of me, and some of you wild out without me knowing you were wilding out. But you didn't wild out to the extent where you lost control and never was able to gain that control back. At any point in time, y'all could have decided that what I said didn't matter. And my kids respected my feelings. And so I remember my oldest daughter got a speeding ticket. And she got into some other stuff, and she was like, I don't understand why you're more upset about the speeding ticket than you are, I said, about this. And I said, well, this one right here hurts. And I would always let them know my feelings. And they cared about my feelings and not hurting me. And I don't know at what point in time that they realized that she's going hard for us. Man, she works hard. She worked the day, she worked nights. And I felt guilty about working day and night, because I loved it. I love what I was doing. I loved it. I love my job. But it was neglecting my kids too, to a certain point. I wasn't spending a lot of time with them, but the time I got to spend with them was because they went to the same school I worked at. So I saw them all the time. If there were games and stuff like that, or if they're involved in something, I was right there. I drove them everywhere. So I was still that mom that made sure they got here and there. I was the weird mom that I prayed for a snow day, not because I didn't want to go to work, because I wanted to be with my kids. I was so glad that we're going to be home and I could be with my kids. And I remember sometimes at work we'd go out to lunch, my friends, colleagues, I should say colleagues, we would go to lunch, and I feel guilty about going to lunch. So I would, after school, go buy them something to eat, because I didn't feel like it was right for me to be out here buy stuff to eat, and they got to go home and figure it out. Hi. See, I came across another cutie. Hi. He's all barking, no bite. Hopefully, I don't know. Speedy Gonzalez. There you go. Okay. I'm gonna get off and let him have his time. Of course, if I have interruptions, I'll forget my trainer thought. But I was very, very appreciative of them getting themselves together. I didn't, They graduated from high school, went on. All of them have degrees from associates and up. So they're all college educated. That doesn't mean, anything unless you do something with it. But I feel like they're just really good people. That was my main purpose, is to make sure I raise good people. What they do with their lives is not me. I'm not the one to decide that, but make sure they're good people as they're doing all of that. That's my job. And so they're really good people. I love being around them and everything. So I thank God for them. Today, I looked out my back door before I went to my doctor's appointment, and there was a wire from the telephone pole connected to the wire on there, laying across my deck. And I was like, whoops. I don't know if that's a live wire. What is that? Is that cable? Is that a live wire? Well, I wasn't going to inspect it. So before I went to my doctor's appointment, I called the city. And they said to stay away from it. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to inspect it. We'll send somebody out there. And I said, well, I'll be gone because I have a doctor's appointment. They said that was fine. And so they got all my information. So I came back from my doctor's appointment, and it was still, they said if it was a live wire, they would, of course, deal with it. But if it was something else, I had to deal with it. So I came home, and the wire's still sitting there. And I said, well, they don't think this is an emergency. I don't see a paper on my door stating that they had been here. And I'm like, this is not an emergency. And why haven't they come? So I said, they don't, I'll just call them tomorrow. But I noticed on my phone there was a missed call with a message. And the guy said he had come out there. It was a phone cable, and he said to give him a call, but it was in the evening. He said give him a call, and I would probably have to contact the phone company. And I'm like, what phone company? I haven't had a phone, I don't know how many years. So I'll call him today. And so that was peculiar. Like, why now? Why'd you blow down now? I don't even know what to do with you now that the city can't do anything. But I guess there's got to be an event to break your day at some point in time. Can't just be the exact thing, or it would be like the movie Groundhog. I would like to avoid a groundhog situation. Groundhog was Groundhog Day. And if you haven't seen the movie Groundhog Day, it's an older movie where the guy got up, came on, he got up, looked at his alarm clock, went through his day, went back to sleep at the end of the day. Next day, same thing happened again. And the same thing that happened yesterday, the day before, happened that day. And it kept happening. Exactly the same. Each day, exactly the same. So I try not to have a Groundhog Day. Shouldn't be looking exactly the same every day. And so, yeah. I don't know. Groundhog Day is good, because you know what happened. If you had a Groundhog Day, well, you knew what the end of the day was going to be. But it can be so monotonous and boring. You got to have something to switch it up. Anything, some little thing, switch it up. Switch up your day. Back to my street. It's really funny how so far I've walked over an hour and walked 1.6 something miles, and so I'm way over what I need to do. I won't move it up. I won't move my expectations up as far as, sis, oh, you've been nailing it at an hour and you've been nailing it over a mile. I'm gonna leave it still at 30 minutes and 1 mile, because that's the least. I won't feel bad if I fall under the hour or under the almost 2 miles. So there's the expectation, and it is the hope that I go beyond my expectations. Okay, so here I am in my chair. Changed my clothes a little bit, put on a cooler top. Gonna have to, if I sit out in this top, which I won't, I'm basically gonna have to spray myself with some sunscreen. Right now there's no sun, so I'm enjoying the rest of the day. In and out. Coffee waiting for me. So I want to show y'all something, okay? So, anybody knows me, I'm a big Temu Shein person. Don't care, don't judge me, okay? Do not judge me. So, and I know what their material is, I know what it feels like, I know it's not what it looks like. So, I'm a big crocheter. I am a humongous crocheter. So, I do know on YouTube that they're doing YouTube videos on how to take the granny square and make pants, okay? So I saw this. These are supposed to be leggings, but mine's flared. Let's see if I can get my chair up. My leggings are flared. Pull this up closer. Mine are flared. Let me maybe perhaps move back further. And they're flared. So I love them. And then sometimes I will get them and they have, you know, painted stitchings on them. They have painted pockets on the back. I mean, they're fun, and I like wearing the leggings because they're loose, they're comfortable. The material, polyester, it's made out of polyester, can get hot, but it's been my go-to comfy casual clothing. It is my go-to. So yes, I thought it was so cool, these pants. And so here I am, and I had them in the package. I had them for a while, but I just opened them up to put them on. So yeah, I got my camisole on, and it feels good for this time of morning. It's about, I don't know, going on 10 o'clock in the morning, and because I started out real early. So yeah, I did check my walk, and I walked for 1 hour, and I walked 1.9 miles. You may as well round that out to 2 miles. That is extremely excellent for me. And so I'm proud of me, and it was a good walk, and it went fast. So now I know what route to go to get in that hour walk and to get in at least 2 miles. And it's not that bad. I just got to walk a few more steps then so it can say 2, or it can say exactly 1 hour. So I know what I need to do, and yeah, I'm excited. It was nice. And I hope y'all are having a good day. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button for me. That's all you have to do is hit that thumbs up. I like that. That's how you like it. Comment. I don't care if you're saying good morning. But basically, I really want to know that you're moving. And encourage me, of course. And yeah, this is the kind of day I have. This is the morning I have right now. It's a little breezy. There's fires around, not the town, but there was a fire a few blocks away. That was day before yesterday. They had a fire on Hancock and Asherzon, and some people were getting ashes all over their car. I guess the wind was blowing some of those ashes. Well, my daughter don't live near there, and but there's people all over the park said that they had ashes on their car. Well, there's some coating on my car that's weird, and I do need to go get this car washed, but there's some thick coating on my car too, but I didn't think it was ash. But when you come to think about it, it's just dirty, but I just took it to the car wash. I just took this car to the car wash, and And I'm thinking something fell all over it. And because rain don't do that. So yeah, today I think I'll get in the car and go to the car wash and get it washed, because the windows are filthy and I might have to pay the big car wash price for it to get a super car wash. But it's supposed to be fires like the Utah-Colorado fire. So it's in Utah, but it's on the Colorado border. And unfortunately, I think 3 firefighters, 2 women, 1 man lost their lives. That's so sad. Eager, young. They were young. Only one lady, she was 38, I think, and the rest were in their 20s. The other 2 were in their 20s. And like, you're eager, you're excited, and you lose your life, you know, doing what you love. There's 2 sides to that point. You know, you're gonna lose your life. Will you be doing something you love? And they talk about, I don't think that's a haze, but I don't smell smoke. Boy, when they used to have these summer fires, you could smell the smoke, and there's no way I'd be out walking with that smoke unless I had a mask on. I would just stay inside. It's too much. Even inside, inhaling that smoke is awful. And so I'm used to living out here in fires. Yeah, when I've been through some big fires, and through the big ones just happened so we left town. The first big one, I said, okay, did we stay in town the first big one? Yes, and that was awful. That was 2002, I think. It was awful. Smoke, it was awful. You could see the fire on the mountains, because we have the mountains view. You could see the fire going across the mountain, because it was quite low, quite close. And then the second one, it was really bad. I woke up one morning and I saw something in the mountains, like smoke, heavy smoke, and I go, that doesn't look good. That looks pretty bad. And but we happened to be leaving that day going to Florida. And by the time we hit Florida, that was an all-out forest fire. And it came down to the springs. It came near the Air Force Academy. It burned down houses out there. And at the time, President Obama was in office, and he came to the YMCA right next door to my job, the YMCA, where I worked out at. And I'm sitting in Florida. And they had the CIA all over on top of the building and everything, because he was just visiting Colorado Springs because the fire was so bad. You know, like I said, the Air Force Academy was out here, and it hit near the Air Force Academy. And he's right next door. When I say right next door, we share a lot with the YMCA. I was here. I mean, it was built in 2000, and it was nothing but an open field when I first started working at that school. And a beautiful Y now. And I was out of town when President Obama was right here in the city, right where I work out. But of course they shut it down. I wouldn't have been able to work out there. I probably wouldn't have been able to go over to the school and just kind of sit and watch. But dang. Sometimes some spirits you don't mind being in the same vicinity of, but just because he's president of the United States and he's popular doesn't mean his spirit was good. So maybe I should have been in Florida. But anyway, I'm going to end this because I'm rambling like I always do. And my brain just thinks of all kinds of things, and I can go all the way off into a tangent. But y'all have a good day. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Keep it moving, 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 moving. I'm moving. I'm proud. I'm happy about it. And so I got to be careful. I don't want to hurt nothing where it can jeopardize that. So y'all have a good day. Bye.